Hello and welcome. It is the 21st day of March 2017 and a crypto update. The PIVX site, which started with 30%, is up to 47%, was up to 48% earlier in the day, and has fallen a little bit and back up higher as Bella and Golem were both selling off, Monero was selling off, Dash was selling off, everything was selling off, and I can survive all those normal sell-offs. In fact, sell-offs are profitable in my strategy as long as they go back up and back down and back up and back down. That's what markets do. So for myself, I got 10% right now, 10.7% with 1,900 shares in Bella. 7.1% of a Bitcoin and Golem at 1,500 shares. Monero is in at 14%, 14% for Dash, 12% for Ethereum, DCR in at 9%, Shadow, oh, I'm not liking this one, 8%, but you know what, it might win and it might lose, but it's like my only one I'm not happy with. Zcash 5%. Well, I'm not happy with because of losers. There's some I'm not happy with because of low bet sizes. Pascal Coin 5%. Game Credits 5%. Factom 4%. That's one I just wish was a little bit. Okay, orders. US dollar. What do I have on order for US dollar? I don't have. Do I still have? I get to figure that one out. We'll get to that in a second. But I should be done with the US dollar selling. Scenario Amp, this one I haven't been happy with because I have just been not betting enough on it. And then these are just lower bet amounts on the lower end. So with that being stated, let's take a look at just some of the quick stats within it. First, the GNT. One with the obviously Bitcoin cross. Average buy 29.40, average sell 29.23. That looks losing, but it's not because it is translated to an average shares holding of 30.75. You can't see it, but the break-even price, that's what the number is 30.75. And yeah, 30.75. It's probably, I'll just say it, it's easy to tell. And yeah, so I'm in for basically 33% off with a decent amount of shares, so I'll take that. But you see a whole bunch of buying and selling, and I'm doing this the same way I am with Bella, where if this thing goes up, I'll sell on the rallies and I'll buy on the dips. So this one looks like I bought big at 21.95, but I don't know how this happened. I just have a whole bunch of like 4.9s, but whatever. It's been a profitable one for sure as far as, say, Dash is concerned. Dash is in for an average buy price of 3.99, an average price of sell price of 3.97. Same thing as GNT. Total buy 5.66, sell 5.5. But it means that with the last trade coming in at 8.51, my average buy price right now is 4.70. So I'll take that in a heartbeat. As far as Monero is concerned, this one is I've bought in 4 3/5. I've sold almost 4, leaving me with 3/4 almost. Average buy and sell is the same thing, but my last buy was at 194. I'm in at 152. So that's pretty decent. Not as good as the other ones, but still, I'm in for a cheaper price right now as far as Ethereum is concerned. I have bought in 4 2/3. I have sold 4 1/3 of them. My average buy price is actually lower than the sell price. The last trade in at 372. My average price right now is 148. So I'm in for over half the price. It's now just to look at some of the other ones. Say ZEC, for example. I have bought in for almost 0.94. I've sold 0.86. The last trade was in at 600. My average price is 468. So buying and selling, just basically you can, this is every one of my trades I've ever done with ZEC. And then we'll go to Bella at the end. As far as the US dollar is concerned, now it says in here my average sell is 1138, my average buy is 1122, so that's like barely, it's like a little over a percent when you take the rake away. I have sold 5.307% of a Bitcoin, and I've gotten back 5.387%. So I've pretty much made nothing on it, but it's just part of many different codes in which add as much volume as I can. Library credits. Average buy price 1906, sell at 1913. So I'm holding 160 or so shares. My average price is 1831. The current last price for me was 2711. So this one's working out for me. Let's just take a look and see what else. Strat. This one I just started getting into, and I haven't really done much with it. I've bought 124. I've sold 90. Last trade was 111, and I'm in for 97. So I'm in for about just a little over 10%, which isn't much, but it's also new. And it's not for that high of stakes either. Anything different? FCT, Factom, I think that one is. You get to know the names pretty well. Same thing when I was into fantasy sports. You got to learn the basketball players and such relatively fast. But for this case, I've bought in 7.5. I've sold a 6 and a 5th. My last buy was 319, and 284 is my average buy price. So not that great of a deal, 10% off. But hey, that's one of my worst winners, we'll say. And a loser now. The San Diego Chargers. I guess it's called Shadow. And there's no such thing as the San Diego Chargers anymore. Last sell price of 22. I've bought for 16. I've sold almost 12. My average price in right now is 259, and it's under 20, so that's down a little bit, and I'll be hoping I can get whatever I can on that one. And now let's just take a look at the Bella one to finish it off. And before, nope, nothing new. Now, Bella's had a lot of trades. You see it's got the loading that's coming on, and I kind of wonder how this is going to work once I get like 6, 7, 20 times volume, especially if I do what I was doing before. And I'm going to go through this more in depth, actually. But as this stands, my average buy is 37 1/3, a little over, and my average sell is about 39 1/3, about a 200 basis point difference, a little less than. 46,500 buys, 44,600 sells, and I think I could have even done bigger if I really wanted to, especially since I figured out how to play this game a bit better, which was a little while ago. As far as my break-even price is concerned, there is no such thing because I've already locked in 1.44% of a Bitcoin profit. That is to say, assuming all my buy orders got deleted and the shares go to nothing, I would profit that. So as far as how this all started, it would have started on February the 20th with this trade of buying 775 shares. That worked out to, at the time, 2.2% of a Bitcoin. It was one I liked right off the bat, so I put a decent amount. My plan was just to buy and hold, and then about 10 minutes later I thought, no, let's, I don't know what I did here. I don't know why I spotted at 28.85 and sold it at 2 basis points cheaper. But technically speaking, I got in a bit more shares at 28.10. That was profitable. And then I sold 100 or 200 of them at 28.75. and 300 more I sold at 29.31. Then again at 3,000, buying them back at 29.45 and 29.11. And then all of a sudden, I decide to change the share sizes. And look, I was doing a buy order at 28.80, 75, 70, 65. I did every 5 basis point difference. And kept buying and buying and buying all the way down to 28.45. And then I'd sell a bit on the higher end, 28.79 and 29.16. And then I bought at a higher price. Interesting. I don't know how that happened, but well, it worked out. But all the way from 29.60 down to 28.49. And then I sold. This was a mistake. This was probably where I was trying to put a buy order in for 28.08, and I accidentally sold it. That's what I'm guessing happened, because nothing else makes sense. And there was a few, especially back then. This was on February the 21st. So I was, yeah, that's the only thing that it was. And we can see just even these smaller numbers barely going down, buying 30 shares a pop, higher amounts, because I really now want to accumulate this. This is when I got to that stage. Yeah, this thing is looking like it's going to go off. And I really got to get shares. And let's just keep on buying and selling this way I've been doing as well at the same time. So I bought all the way down 28, and then you sell at 29.26 up to 29.62. Buy back again at 29.15 all the way down to 28.95. And then you start your selling at 29.25 all the way up to 29.42. And a lot of this is just rinse and repeat. Situation in here where I have a lot of buy orders because it went from 29.28 all the way down to 27.81. Buy order after buy order after buy order. And I was enjoying that because it was accumulation, and then, well, I might as well sell on the uprises. And it just continues on over and over and over again. There are a lot of situations where, like for example, in here, I bought at 28.20. Okay, let's put a price tag on that. How about 29.10? Something like that. Oh, I sold this at 28.11. Well, let's put a buy order in for, say, something like 27 something. And then I sold all the way from 28.22 to 29.39. I probably put a buy order for 29.06 for that one. And this one, I probably put a buy order for 29.02. Because that's when it would start to go down. And every single one, I would put a new order in for. Now, for the most part, sometimes when I bought a whole bunch, say, 20 segments of them, I might put 15 sell orders in. And what was also common was for me, and you can even see it on here later on, is I would sell less shares than I bought. But again, a lot of buy orders at one time, down to 27. And there's a lot more. I'm just going to scroll up to some other interesting situations. The price is up to 32, 33, 36. Price goes back down, and just keep on taking every single swing you can. You can only do so much when you're sleeping or when you're out, but you can at least have your orders set up responsibly before you go to bed, before you go out, and all that kind of stuff. Or even if you're going to just do stuff away from the computer for an hour, set your orders up responsibly, and that's what I do. I can't say that I've been perfect. I made a couple mistakes this morning where I missed out on 2 opportunities. So be it. And again, up to 4,000. And this stage, I'm like, okay, we're getting close to that level. I remember looking at the volume that day and saying, you know what, this thing isn't ready to pop yet, or pop is in the top. And then it was doing its thing, and now all of a sudden it's gotten over 5,000, and I'm still buying and selling along the way because indicators didn't tell me it was ready to pop. And then I go to bed and all this was happening when I woke up. All these sell orders. Didn't even have a chance to buy back cheaper because I was sleeping. And they kept going in and in and in. And the volume was telling me it was toppy at this point when I woke up. So I realized just sell this thing out. Even when I woke up at 62.58, I was like, okay, wait a second here. I mean, I don't think I want to buy it anymore. Not for a while. So I want to sell a bunch more. So I put more orders to sell in at 58.77 because I would have, this is the last order I would have had on the wake up that morning. So the price would have been below 58.77. So instead of buying, I'm like, okay, let's sell more because I don't think it's going to go up much anymore. And I got too many shares. So 88 sale, 100 sale, I got rid of 188 just that fast. And I'm glad I did. I mean, I know I only got the 30 at the 64, but I managed to get rid of most of those shares. And at this stage here, I'm like, you know what, I can afford to at least now day trade it back after I liquidated out of these shares. And well, that's pretty much what I did. And then the market's going sideways for a few days between 4,000 and something to 5,000. And I'm getting in on the lower prices and I'm selling at the higher prices over and over again. But I'm also realizing with these 10 share sizes that this is, why am I selling such a small percentage of what I have? I should be selling more. And I realized that was a problem, and I knew that had to be fixed. But first and foremost, the price was going down. You can see 33, 32, and it was time to get in heavy. But the lower end range was really breaking below 31, and that never really happened until in here. I didn't go all that aggressive, but I had more orders in. I still had the smaller sizes like the 10 and 14s, but they started to get bigger in here, or well, the 29s, they started to get bigger roughly at around, right here, 2,700, there was 100. This was lucky and unlucky. Because I was going really, really aggressive at 20. Well, actually, I went lower than this. I got more than just that. I was going really aggressive at 2,500, and it never got there. But there was a 2750 I got, a 2725. I got this 2706. And I got this 2701. I got this 2600. So, yeah, I did get a bunch of them. So you can see all of these shares that I accumulated at the 26, 27 level. And I had a whole bunch ready at 25. I think I had a good 200-300 more that I wanted to get that I was unable to. And then you start to sell. But here I bought at the very 44 and 53 at 25.77. I bought 100 at 26. I bought 35 at 26.77. I bought 55 at 26.01. I bought 100 at 27.06. 35 at 27.25 and 35 at 27.5. So a lot of accumulation, but I don't want to sell too much of them, but I have to sell some. So I sold 99, 99, and I probably had a calculator in hand thinking, okay, I want to sell probably 2/3, 3/4 of what I bought, that kind of thing. And then the buying and selling would and has been continuing on within this the exact same way during this entire duration. I don't think there's any other way I'd want to trade charts. It's the best way. You know, charts go up, you know they go down, you know they go sideways, and regardless of the fact, I'm going to win. The only two things that hurt this is, one, when markets go straight up or straight down. If they go straight down and you just don't get the bounces, then you're going to keep buying and the prices will go lower and you're losing. Now, if they go straight up, you're still going to win, but you're not going to win as much and you're going to run out of shares. So that's the two ways you'll lose. And now we're coming up to current time, and that's where it stands. So that's every single trade that I've done. A whole bunch of combinations of buys and sells, and 46,200 and 44,000 sells. So if you hear in the silver market stuff like that they're selling this much amount of the silver market, well, quite frankly, I can easily, if I wanted to, sell 10,000, 15,000 in a day if I wanted to. If I really wanted to. I don't, but I could. Yet I only hold 2,000-3,000 at one time. But it's normal actually for me to, let me just do a random date. Let's do the 15th. 15th to the 16th. We'll do a 2-day period. So during a 2-day period, I sold, well, not a volatile day, I guess, or set of 2 days, but I sold and bought over 3,000. On this particular time, I would have accumulated, or actually sold off 700 shares at a profitable price. But that's just, again, one example. I'm going to now just finish off this video, just go over an example of what I'm doing. No new transactions for me, but just quickly going over the charts nonetheless while I'm here. See, with the Bella chart, and I got to show you the volume now. This is the daily chart. No, it's not. It's a 30-minute chart. It's been a long day. It's 9 o'clock at night, and just going to relax for the rest of the night. But anyway, with that being stated, one daily chart. Let's go for the last month. See, this is a situation in here with the volume. Huge volume spiking up to indicate the start of this thing really getting going. Sells off on declining volume. Then on good volume, it has this nice green candle day. And this pullback, well, that's profit taking. That's stuff that people like to do, and I don't blame them. And then it's just going to go sideways on low volume. This one has decent sized volume on a green candle day. And it continues with steady higher volume to this point here, which had a very volatile session, profitable the way I trade. Although I was just moments away, days away from trading it at this point. And then declining volume as the market goes sideways. And then in here, the volume starts to increase. And then increase again. And as I was stating, the volume on this date was just matching the previous day, matching this day. It wasn't telling me it was ready to blow off. Now here it did, because it was at the price target and it was so high. And then we can see it follows through the stabilization for a few days on high volume. Then it goes down big on high volume, goes down a big day again on high volume, and then it goes low volume immediately the next day, just going sideways. Another declining move, and this is interesting about technical analysis when you see this. When you have a move go down like this on high volume like this, and then it sells off close to its previous low on very low diminishing volume, that's a very strong signal. And again, that was the case in here. And then we continue on with low volume movement. And this green candle day came on good volume. And then it's consolidated low volume during the small uptrend. Now that is very, very strong. So we've had two green candle days. And what is higher than this declining volume, but still lower than this. I'm liking this a lot, which is why I wrote on my thing, this could get very scary for where this could go, because any type of high volume up move, I don't know what the potential would be for upside movements. Now let's move on to GNT, and I'm going to go on to another one which I'm up over 20% on right now. We'll talk about that after this, but GNT, situation where it goes up on good volume. This is a daily chart. Sideways, two sideways consolidation days on lower volume. Then you have another up day on decent volume and a little bit of selling off. And to me, this seems like a very, very bullish chart again, because there's the big volume on the 4-hour chart, the consolidation on low. and then it starts to rise, really picking up the gains as it's making new highs. Huge volume here, and consolidating on lower volume again. This nice green candle. I mean, look at this. I'm going to shorten it out a bit. Low volume here. So I think that this thing is ready to go. This is my second biggest position. I'm taking a decent chance on it, and I hope it comes through. And what I took maybe too small of a chance on, because a lot of my strategy is very aggressive and safe at the same time, which is hard to understand, and it's really hard to execute, but I think I do a good job of it. And one example is this PIVX, priced in right now at 48.99. I got in at 4,000 earlier today. I got in at this lower end of this range earlier. Thank you for the comment, Dex D, for pointing this out to me. This is a beautiful thing about the internet. He points it out to me, so I do a search on PIVX BTC, and I end up finding information regarding it. He helped out with some comments as well, or some places too, information about how this is really working within the dash chart. And so I thought, okay, I found a place where I could trade it. I searched, I found the exchange for it. After I found another, from the link he gave me, I found where it was traded. So I went to Bittrex, put an account together, and put only 2% of a Bitcoin in. That's the safe part. Only putting 2%, which works. And I got between 2/3 and 3/5 right now in value. So it's really 3% of my equity into it. It could be higher. It could have been higher. But you know what, though? A play's a play. And I'm in at 4,000. We'll see how this goes. I've put a few sell orders in. Let me just go through. I bought 50 units, basically. It worked out to. Market history. That's just. So what happened was I put my first order in at 12:56 p.m. And I was just I tried to buy. I actually went to buy it at this price when I was trying to put in 2% of a Bitcoin to buy it for, and I ended up buying it at a price of 405 or 40.53. And I only bought about one PIVX, and then I realized, okay, this is how you make the bet. I figured it out. So I put an order in for 4,000 when the last price order was 4,001. And I put in for everything I could. The order got filled within 7 seconds. I was happy, and I got my order in. So I put in 3 sell orders, getting out of 10 or 20% in each case, leaving 40% back. 10% on a double, going from 4,000 to 8,000. Another 20% of the original buy in at a triple. It's gained to 1,200. And then another 20% when it goes up an additional 50, or that of 4.5x, 350% gain. Now what I'm thinking about doing is, do I really want to day trade this the same way that I'm talking about doing Bella and such? The commissions on here are a little more expensive. It's 0.15% per trade on Poloniex, which is 0.3. This is 0.25%. I don't want to run the risk of losing out on shares, but this has been going on, this chart, for a long, long time. If you take a look at this on, say, the daily chart, I mean, this, no, it hasn't. Okay, throw that aside. Throw that aside. Why was I thinking this was going on for, like, a long time? Okay, and see, I don't even know if I want to keep these sell orders in this thing, because I can tell you right now, if a sell order comes in, what am I going to do with my Bitcoins when I get them? Well, if I put a sell order for 8,000, I'd probably put a buy order in between 6 and 7,000. That's what I'll probably do. Or maybe I'll put like a small fractional amounts and work it down. I don't know, but I still don't know what I'm going to do with it. But this thing looks like it's got the potential to get going, and I don't know what the limits are. Like down here, this is 2 days ago. This is 3 zeros 198. Now it's 3 zeros 49. So it's basically went over 100% in that time. Let's go daily chart. So in here, this is 4 zeros 19. So it's went up like 50, like 24 times higher. Does it still have that potential to do it? Why not? I mean, these things keep on going wild as it is. That's why risk reward on these things are so beautiful. I mean, this thing just started off on like March the 2nd. See, this is why I'm only betting 2%, I guess, because you're just new to knowing what this is. So, anyway, thank you for tuning in. Long video, 30 minutes. Take care.